Let's hope we don't ruin anyone's good memories about this show. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Cavern. That's what this is going to be called until I can figure something else out. Cavern just slips off the tongue, you know? If you're new here, my name is Cassie. I talk about a lot of things that go on in my brain, and some of them are weird. I have been on a huge watching binge, or I guess just going down a lot of nostalgic trips with old shows and old movies, especially like old Nickelodeon shows. Like back in the day, like 2004 to 2006, there was a lot of creepy ass shows going around for children that maybe shouldn't have been made for children. I'm not just talking Nickelodeon, but like Cartoon Network and stuff. Like there was Billy and Mandy, which it's a kid's show, but holy crap, there are some things in that show that are really, really off. And of course, Invader Zim, Samurai Jack, like even some episodes of the Powerpuff Girls, like they were weird episodes because the creator, I guess, didn't care. Creators, not the same creator for all the shows. Since it's spooky season coming up soon, it's mid-September. But to me, it's spooky season already. We're gonna go down a nice nostalgic trip together, and I'm gonna start this little series. This little series is just strictly based off of Invader Zim. Invader Zim is a household classic to me. I enjoy the show. I've loved the show since I was able to watch it. I believe I was able to watch it when I turned like 8, 9, when my brother introduced it to me, but it's been out since 2004. Early 2000s. I just thought, why not make a little series about it? I want to do a whole season rundown of the show, and the season 1 has 20 episodes on it, so I'm not gonna if I were gonna do all the 20 episodes, this video would be 5 hours long, but I'm gonna do 1 through 5 in this one, and then if people want another one, I can do like 6 through 10, 6 through 11, 5 each pretty much, because these episodes are typically kind of short. There's 2 episodes in one, basically. It's kind of like how SpongeBob does it, where there's one episode for about 15 minutes and another episode inside it, and then it's like 30 minutes total, something like that. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you like Invader Zim, hopefully you'll enjoy this. I'm going to be putting clips in this video finally. I've figured out how to do it. Some are gonna have noise, some won't. I'm not trying to get copy struck by Nickelodeon. I just don't want to, so bear with me, but it's gonna be okay. We're gonna start the first episode. First episode is simply called The Nightmare Begins, and it is basically the plot of the entire show. It introduces all the main characters, it introduces the main problem, and introduces the in the middle part. Let's start, shall we? Starts with the entire alien fleet. They're called the Armada, getting together for a huge meeting, a huge assigning that they're having, where the great tallists, they're very tall aliens, that's literally all they are. They are choosing soldiers to go invade planets surrounding them, and they invade. They're going to be able to contact the Armada and be like, hey, come destroy this. And the cycle continues, like aliens do. Don't you know that? Like,
there, you will blend in with the hideous native inhabitants. All while gathering crucial information, assessing the planet's weaknesses, making it vulnerable to our big spaceship gang, the Armada.
I just want to point out something about the tallists. Despite them being very tall, actually, because they're very tall, they prefer taller soldiers, I guess. In the scene, they're talking to them, and their heads keep growing until they get to one poor little guy who clearly can't help the fact that they can't grow.
Could you get any shorter?
I don't know. The tallest come off as very, specific, very kind of, I wouldn't say stuck up, but I think it's very not cool to just change someone's position just because of their height. The tallest piss me off. Then after all the soldiers are assigned a planet, we get to the end of the assigning, of course, but no. they missed one, or I guess one missed them. We are introduced to the strongest, the most dangerous, and the most very annoying soldier that they have, which is Zim. Zim is he's basically treated as a very outcast, like a huge outcast, not worthy of becoming a real space invader, because he's messed up a couple times, I guess. Who hasn't, right? Like, they're just so rude to him. I don't understand why, besides the mistakes, but mistakes can be you can change, right? Everyone can change. Anyways, apparently he wasn't even invited to this entire thing.
You weren't invited at all.
Wow, that's fucked up, man. He must have pissed everybody off. Like, he literally said that they tell him he was banished up until this point.
You quit being banished?
He didn't want to be banished anymore. I didn't realize you could do that. Back to the mistakes that he has caused. One main one is that Dummy made a mistake and he thought he was on another planet. Just starts wrecking everything with a robot. Who gave him a robot? Where did he get the robot? Why are there workers in the robot?
But sir, we're still on our own planet!
Maybe he just stole it. Maybe he had the dudes at gunpoint. I have no idea. People in there working for him. I make that ha.
I put the fires out.
And through this entire process of them trying to let him down gently, he just keeps persisting that he's okay, he can do this. They give him a sandwich, not enough. So what do? Okay, let's trick him a little bit. We're gonna give him a secret planet, a secret assignment, a little extra that no one else knows about.
Right there.
Ooh, a secret mission.
Poor Zim is very gullible, but he basically worships the tallest. They're their leaders. Like, I can understand that, but it's like, my guy, come on. After all the things that they are literally telling you, you shouldn't let your guard down that easily. But nonetheless, Zim accepts, and then they continue to the equipping hall. I guess that's a place where they get their stuff. And that's where we're going to be introduced to our second main character. The second main character is shown on Earth. Here we meet Dib, who he's basically a science geek. He's really into supernatural. He's into space. He's into all the creepy stuff like any kind of weird supernatural investigator would be into. And he's on the roof. He's just chilling, listening to some transmissions from the space up there. That's where he is. And he hears them. And of course he goes off, and then he runs into his house, falls in the water, and gets in his dad's face.
Dad! They're coming! I heard them! I actually heard them! I was up on the roof, and I heard this transmission was coming through!
Shh, not now, son.
Using electricity to make toast. That wouldn't burn it right, would it? I don't know. I'm very confused. I just want to know why. I'm very curious about that now. Nonetheless, Dib, his dad, and of course Gaz, the three membrane family members, they make the whole show. And then after that, they are in the equipping hall where they are giving their, I guess, robot codependents. They're called SIRS. They're units that will assist you in your journeys and, help you get stuff. They're robots, so they have different abilities. They're really interesting, and everyone gets the same one. They call them SIRS. But when Zim's ready to get his, he gets one completely different. Because it's special. It's advanced.
It's not stupid. It's advanced.
He doesn't have a regular brain like they do. And then you're introduced after all of that to Gur.
Gur, reporting for duty.
Grr.
He is the cherry on top of this entire show. Gur is adorable. Gur is like just a little fun guy who likes to joke around and jump on his head and is kind of stupid. Only kinda. Wait, no, he's not stupid. He's advanced, remember?
Is it supposed to be stupid?
It's not stupid.
Gur and Zim are like the best combination in this show. And through the episodes, like through the entire series, you will see Gur's intellect and his everything kind of switch and change and all this stuff, because Zim will upgrade him and all this other crap. But right now, you're seeing him fresh as can be, being the best person he can possibly be. The journey to Earth starts, and him and Gur set off, and it starts getting annoying immediately because Gur loves to sing. He sings for 6 months straight. Zim is literally in drool and looks like he's losing every kind of consciousness and brain cell in his head.
Would you please?
Before Zim can get his hands on him, though, they are in Earth's atmosphere and they see the beautiful ball of water and ice and grass and wind and people. Once they get into Earth's atmosphere, they are, seeing what everything is and going through the different things that they're looking at until they can find the space to put their home or their base. And they find their base, and Zim has the coolest little sketch pad, and he sketches up a little bit of a house, windows, trees, all that crap. And, magically it appears because the little sketch thingy turns into a drill, and that drill goes into the earth, and the earth it grows. You know what I'm talking about, right? It looks like that. It turns into that. It's very cool, and then they pick out their disguises. Zim's is very basic. It's simply just a lens, 2 lenses, and a wig. That's basically it. And Gur's is just a dog.
Can I be a mongoose dog?
But the dog suit is iconic. I hate saying iconic, but that suit is iconic. It's so cute. It's green, it's black, it squeaks when he walks like.
Genius!
But yeah, as the house grows and like it basically steals people's electricity around them and their water and everything, so he has that. The house is created, and Zim is trying to figure out the easiest and, I guess, safest way to learn about humans and their weaknesses and all that. So he goes to school. SKOOL. School, bruh. But yeah, we meet Miss Bitters, who's kind of a main character, sort of, kind of. She's the main teacher.
I'd like to introduce the newest, hopeless appendage to the student body. His name is Zim.
Zim's in class. He's introducing himself. No one's batting an eye to his green skin or anything except our boy Dib. That's right. Dib and Zim are in the same class. Because why wouldn't they, right? God. And Dib is basically freaking out. Because, hey, there's an alien. I'm going to be able to talk about this, right? So he's telling everyone what he is and that everything he's been saying to them is true. And Zim almost, blows himself up.
Aw, not this again. You're crazy.
No one believes him at all. Like, Dib is so close to convincing. He even draws on the board, this is the humans. This is us. Can you see the difference? And it's just like, dude, calm down. So from that point, the rivalry between Dib and Zim start. And from this point on, Dib does everything he can to, I guess, try to expose Zim. Like, from the first episode on, that's all he's doing, is he's trying to expose him. Like, you're an alien, I'm gonna tell everyone. And after school, he confronts him, tries to handcuff him with cuffs that are gonna knock him out.
Ooh, it's pretty. What is it?
Alien sleep cuffs, guaranteed to render all alien life forms unconscious.
A whole chase scene starts with them running from the school, swinging on clotheslines, jumping on buses, a weird ass ice cream truck with the creepiest song probably ever.
Ice cream. You like ice cream. You love it.
Ugh. Imagine hearing that as a child, just driving down your road. It's a very long chase scene until Zim is hurt by a dog and Dib finds him, and then Zim gets out, and then Dib gets hurt by the dog, and then Zim calls Gur. Gur flies in. It's the cutest little interaction ever.
Get me out of here now, Gur! Now! Hey, wait a minute, what's up?
Unbeknownst to Zim, the smoke from Gur's jets from his feet are still around, so Dib is able to find him pretty easily. He follows the smoke trail, basically. And then he finds his house, and he basically threatening him, like, I will wait forever to get you to admit, I'll wait forever to capture you, like, all that stuff, until one of Zim's fancy little gnomes zaps his weapon, basically, and it just goes home.
I'm gonna go home now and prepare some.
The episode ends with that. But not before he reports to the tallest about what he's done. And of course the tallest are so freaked out to be seeing him, just like, oh, you're alive? It's like, yeah, man. You sent me here, I should be alive, right? Like, Zim is so oblivious to the tallest hating him, it's almost kind of sad. And so the call ends, and the tallest are just like, what the fuck, man? Anyway, that's how the first episode ends. Next, we go to episode 2, which is our first two-parter, basically. I say a two-parter because it has the 2 episodes in one. The first one is simply just called Parent-Teacher Night. And everyone remembers Parent-Teacher Night. You bring your parents, and they talk to your teacher about what you're doing, how you're doing, what you're doing next, like all that crap. But Zim is different. Zim doesn't have parents, basically. They show how he is created. He comes from a vial of green goo, and then he has his backpack shit stripped into his in his back, and then he's ready to talk, and he's alive. You know, after his teacher was just like, you're gonna bring your parents, right? All Zim's like, I didn't say that. And then they show a video, and he just looks stupid.
Are you going to bring your parents to parent-teacher night?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Basically, from that point on, Zim kind of gets worried because he has to bring his parents, and he doesn't know what to do because his parents that he created are the robot parents, basically. And they're very unstable, they're very breaky, like, they're not good, really. Not good to be around people, pretty much. But Zim does his best to fix them up a little bit and make them parent-y. So what does he do? He straps them in seats, he literally screws their eyes open and makes them watch these, like, parent videos, everyday videos, like, oh, you deal with grass stains, or, ooh, fucking diarrhea, man, like, my back problems. Like, everyday issues or everyday conversations you would have with someone, I think. But this seems to work. But beknownst to Zim, that Gur had accidentally changed one of the channels to a, like, kung fu movie where they're poking people. Keep that in mind. Poking is a big problem in this episode. So they get there. Zim shows up with his parents, and not before we meet Gaz's teacher with Dib's dad, who, by the way, Dr. Membrane is a scientist, apparently a very high-end, scary, let's not mix these chemicals up scientist, and he seems to be pretty good at his work.
No! You have the mixture all wrong!
Zim shows up with his parents, and his parents seem to be doing pretty well. Like, they're conversing with people, Zim's talking to the other students, like, it's going okay. Until, I guess, one of the guys gave his dad a fresh cookie from his wife that made him, and this part is insane to me, because he eats it, and then he has the reaction, and he's just like, oh, diarrhea.
Yup. Diarrhea.
And as soon as that happens, the mother just throws punch in his face, and he smacks himself into a wall. And then the stuff just starts going down, like, immediately. It goes from 0 to 100 so quickly. Zim's mom just starts poking this poor woman's face. Like, Zim's dad is convulsing on the ground. Like, his arm rips off, and Dib is loving every inch of it. Like, he throws punch at Zim because Zim falls in punch. And it's just a pretty messed up scene for Zim. I feel really bad for the poor guy. He did his best. So Zim does what he knows he can do with how to get them off. He just has his, back break.
My spine! My spine!
My back, I think I broke my spine. I guess that is enough for the parents to be like, okay, I guess we should take you home now, and they rocket out of there. Dib is pissed because no one saw that, but they saw him throw punch. Now everyone's pissed at him.
Hey, that kid's throwing punch!
And then the episode ends. That's the end of the first part, which that one's pretty small and quick. I don't hate it. I don't love it either. Like, it's one of the episodes I really just, why? But it kind of shows that Zim has the technology and ability to change things if he wants him to. Even if things can go awry, everything can change. Everything can mess up, you know? But anyway, the second part of that episode is called Walk of Doom. It sounds freaky. It's not. I don't think, actually. It's not. The Walk of Doom starts with Gur being Gur. He's just running around the house, you know, having fun. He's running into the wall. He's in the kitchen, knocking over chairs. And then he finds one of Zim's, I guess, transports to his lab, which in this case, I think was in the trash can. But it's actually kind of cool. Zim has all these little trinkets in his house where he can go down to his lab. One's a trash can, one's a toilet. I think it's funny. And he's down there, he's running around, and Zim is updating his guidance chip, I believe is what he said. And this guidance chip is going to help him with more intelligence, tracking, basically everything that he needed before he came to Earth.
These upgrades, Gur, there will be nothing that you cannot find. No situation that you cannot guide us out of.
No, me late. Set it and forget it. Okay. So yeah, his guidance chip is now updated, so he tests it by saying like, oh, where's Earth? Here. Where's our school? Over there. Like, he gets everything correct. And then Zim decides to test it a little bit. So they go into the city and get lost, basically. And Zim's still relatively new to the world, I guess. So a city to him is so overpowering, overwhelming, and he had full faith in Gur, but poor Gur... Actually, no poor Gur. Gur did all this himself. I'm very upset with Gur. He basically like, okay, we're out far enough. How do we get home? And then Gur, you know, does his scanny thing and he points up. He's like, no, not Earth, home. And Gur basically says that he left his chip at home to make room for a cupcake in his brain.
Guidey chippy thingy. Why would you do that? Make room for the cupcake.
I can feel Zim's pain because Zim is just done after that. He's just like, why would you do this? And oh, poor little guy, he gets so upset. Poor Gur starts to cry. I didn't realize that robots could cry, but Gur starts crying. Zim calms down a bit, and they need to figure out a way to get home. They're not used to this stuff. They don't want to ask the humans for help because to Zim, that's just stupid. Why would you ask the enemy for help? Through the episode, he basically tries to figure out ways home. He stares at the sun to try to track it, but the guy gets blinded because he stares at the sun and his eyes boiled, basically. It's a pretty graphic scene if you don't like bubbles. But it basically, he gets bubbled up and it's just, it's kind of gross, I'm not gonna lie. He's like, Gur tells him, how about we try the bus? So they try the bus. He has no money for the bus. He doesn't know how to make money until he, you know, goes around and he sees some street performers. If you've never been in a city or you've never been in, like, I don't know, a wide open area, I guess, street performers are very common. You know, you dance, you do imitations, you wear a metal suit and you look like a robot and you get money. It's for entertainment, basically. So Zim takes note of this, and that's what they do to get bus fare. And also that creepy guy, there's a creepy guy in the corner there who looks very similar to Zim. The hat and the beard, that's literally it. And I guess the coat too. But he's a bank robber. That's going to come back around, okay? Yeah, Zim gets his sight back. I probably should have said, that's probably obvious, right? He does sit for a while and he does get his sight back. I should have said that before. So after he gets all of his bus fare, he goes back to the bus and he puts the money in there and he sits down and they're ready to move, but they're in traffic, like up the ass of traffic, which is, it's not shown after, hang on. So he's in there, he's kind of like taking note of all of his surroundings, like all the people around him. There's a woman crying, there's a baby staring at him, there's a dude sniffling, sneezing, like, long story short, Zim gets very grossed out to the point where he gets off the bus before it even moves.
I cannot stay on this bus any longer!
The thing that pisses me off the most is that as soon as he gets off, the bus takes off like there was no traffic. Like, are you kidding me? Where'd it go? Where's the traffic? Why are you lying to me? I am mad right now. So after this, Zim kind of starts panicking. He doesn't really know what to do, so he kind of looks around and he sees the tallest point of the city, which is the bank, essentially. So, but remember, that bank robber, there was a robbery at this bank, so a lot of people are up there. There's tape everywhere. There's cops in there. And as he walks in, since he looks relatively like the robber did, one of the cashiers recognizes the look and was just like, oh my god, it's him. And so the cop was just like, yo, get him. Not after, being a little dramatic about it, but still.
Hey, that's the guy! And he's back for more! Get him!
Zim is then chased, but he runs upstairs. He runs to the tallest point. He's got his creepy spider legs. Like, I'm grateful that he's able to find a way to get to places faster, but spider leg, I hate it. I have arachnophobia. I hate spiders with a passion, and this just gives me I'm getting goosebumps right now. Oh my god. They get to the tallest point, but the cops are literally after him. There's helicopters everywhere. So what does he do? He's like, hey, we're at the top part. I can almost see an area where I know is in the clearing. He tells Gur to, take us there, because, Gur has rocket shoes. But not even 5 minutes after that, his rocket fuel gives out. So they tried to fly off, but Gur's fuel in his tank immediately runs out. And of course, Zim is also more upset now. It's like, why did you run out of fuel so quickly? That's not like you. This dude was like, I emptied it out to make room for the tuna.
To make room for the tuna.
Grr! Oh my god. What the hell? So that's the end of that episode, basically. Actually, no, I lied. They do end up taking a cab. But the cab, he has no idea where he's going. So he just tells the cab to drive that way. And he ends up in a very rural, out of city, don't know where he is area. He is pissed. But that's when the episode ends. Sorry. Okay, we're already at 30 minutes, so I gotta speed this process up. Let's go to episode 3 now. Episode 3 is Best Friends. This is a very basic episode, pretty much. It's Zim trying to fit in with humans and get used to it, but he's not having a good time doing it at all. He can't even eat the food, which is kind of sad. But another thing that happens is a popular girl, of course, is bagging on him. Like, that new dude Zim is so weird. He doesn't even have any friends, not even that weird dude Dib. So he gets a little upset by that, and he's just like, why would you call it? Why? So he thinks of a plan. He sees all rejects in the corner, because that's what the girl has said. The rejects in the corner, and he basically does tests to see who will be his best friend. These tests seem to be very, very brutal for no reason. Like, he tests their absorbency, the way they handle electric power, and something to do with a car and a squirrel. I have no idea, but it seemed weird to me, okay? And only one dude seemed to completely pass everything, and he gets very happy, and Zim basically hires him as his best friend, just for the day, it seemed. He shows the popular dude, like, hey, this is my best friend, and the girl's just like, get lost. And it's like, what? Why even bother talking about him if you don't care if he's gonna show you? I hate popular girls who do that, just talking shit for no reason at all. It's like, who are you? They don't even know you. Go away. Anyway, so through the episode, they're at school. He's just showing off, oh, this is my best friend. His name's Keef, by the way. Keef. Keef. Zim kind of starts getting off of him, just like, all right, well, I appreciate your help today. Goodbye, basically. And Keef, at this point, kind of starts being a little creepy about it. Like, I guess if you have a new friend that you haven't had a friend in a while, you start really just appreciating them, but at the same time not knowing boundaries. Keef is really bad with boundaries, because after Zim basically closed the door in his face and says never mind, Keef calls him, starts out fine, and then he calls him again, and it's just like, hey buddy, can't wait for the circus. And then he's riding around on his bike back and forth from his house, basically it freaks Zim out, because Zim thinks oh, this guy's gonna hurt me now, right? But from that point on, basically, yeah, Keef just gets really, really creepy. Zim goes into his lab. He comes back out the next morning. Keef is in the kitchen. He literally told Gur, don't let anybody in. What does Gur do? As soon as someone knocks on the door, he opens it. Zim kicks him out, and Keef, he's not really creepy himself. He has good intentions. He just wants to be around Zim more. But he does it in the worst way possible. Like, he tells Gur, he's like, we should throw him a surprise party at the house. His house, right here. Not anywhere else. This house right here. He's gotta deal with it. And Gur, of course, is like, yeah, let's freaking do it. And so the episode cuts to Gur coming home with a bag of, party decorations and streamers, and he hides it from Zim until he gets in the kitchen, and he's just like, what is this? And Gur's like, I'm not doing anything. Nothing. No. And then Zim's just... Gur caves immediately, and he's like, he was throwing a surprise party for you. And Zim freaks out again, so he comes up with a plan. He basically makes Keith a present. But this present is very... you'll see. So he brings all the kids to Zim's house after school. It's 3 p.m. at this point in the show. And he goes straight into Zim's house, like, I'll go get him. And then Zim is standing there holding the present. And he's just like, very sultry. He's in the shadows. Keith is just like, oh, thank you so much. Like, you didn't need to do this. And then he opened it, and then 2 pincers grab his eyeballs, pull them out, and then replace them with other ones, which I'm gonna guess are like robot eyes, and they only make him see his best friend. It's kind of like a voodoo hypnosis kind of thing, and then he snaps his fingers, and he sees, the next thing he sees is his best friend. So he looks out a window, and he sees a squirrel, but the squirrel has taken it looks like Zim. So Keith immediately thinks, oh, that's Zim. I'm gonna go be with Zim. So he runs after it. He runs past the kids. He's like, hey, this is Zim. And then he just follows the squirrel. He follows the squirrel up everywhere. Like, he won't leave the squirrel alone. And I guess squirrels really don't like being bothered, especially if they have a nut in their mouth, because don't touch their nuts, right? Basically, at the end of this, he follows the squirrel too much, and the squirrel gets annoyed, and the squirrel jumps on him, and they both fall. I'm gonna guess to their deaths, because he lets out a awful scream, and there's smoke, and then it ends basically in black. It's kind of weird. It's kind of freaky. It's one of the dark. It's like the first part of the dark portions of this show. And anyway, yeah. Next we have Nano Zim, which is the second part of episode 3. It's very self-explanatory because it barely takes place anywhere else. So basically Zim is in his house and he hears an intruder, and of course it's just Gur. He left the door open.
Gur, you left the door open again. I got chocolate bubblegum.
An intruder had come in. It was Dib. Dib was sneaking into his house basically, and he took a picture of Zim without his disguise, and of course he gets away. And so Zim kind of freaks out of it, and he's just like, this is not going to go well at all. I need to find Dib and get those pictures back. Dib and Gaz are at their house, and he's watching a show called Mysterious Mysteries, where he's going to send those pictures to either get an episode or get a callback or just expose in general, right? But then he gets a transaction on his TV. It's Zim. Where is Zim? Zim is inside his body while talking to him.
What the? Zim? What are you doing in my TV?
I'm not in your TV. I'm transmitting from inside your body.
So Zim eventually does have Dib destroy his photos. His photos were in his hand the whole time, and he just destroys them. But luckily, Dib did have a second copy, because he's gonna erase the pictures from his brain, and of course, make him go brain dead most likely. And so Dib, thankfully having a scientist father, he's able to find a little nano robot to put in his body, and he can talk to him and fight him and all that. That's basically what happens. Is he finds Zim and they fight in Dib's body, and Zim's threatening him I'm gonna destroy your brain, I'm gonna destroy everything, and Dib's like, no, you're not gonna do that. So he goes full fighting mode and try everything he can to do anything.
I don't really know the controls yet. Oh no!
He's not able to figure out the controls for the robot that's in his body yet, but Gaz, oh sweet Gaz, gamer of the household, she takes over after Dib is literally losing all mobility in his hands.
Arms like noodles.
I don't think Zim even knows it's her. But she destroys him, and he's able to get his mobility back. But not before he does destroy that little part in Dib's brain where he can't remember the second copy.
I can't remember where the file is yet! He did it! He made me forget!
And that episode ends with Dib being happy that Zim is destroyed, technically. So what does he do? He goes to the bathroom and he lets Zim go.
Wait! Dib! What's going on?
The next episode, episode 4, is Germs. Germs is kind of my favorite episode, basically because it involves cleaning. I enjoy cleaning. So basically it starts with Zim and Gur in their house. They're watching something, and this something is about scientists and an alien invasion. The alien invasion is pretty nasty. They figure something out. One of the scientists says that, hey, I have an idea. She fills her hand with pepper, she puts it in her nose, and then she sneezes all over an alien that they had in a tube. Basically, the thing was aliens can be destroyed by germs. And then they send their whole military out there just to sneeze on these creatures, and they all just explode and die. And of course, you know, Zim at first is like, oh, there's no way this is accurate. I'm not going to believe this at all. But then he gets curious, and he goes to his lab, and he does some research. And
Small threats, like germs. Yes, germs. Every planet has them, and many an invading life form has been thwarted by these.
he finds these special goggles that can show germs, essentially, because Zim's just like, oh, I'll try these. And he puts them on, and then he is surrounded by piles after piles of germs just everywhere. And Zim basically is just yelling the entire time, the entire 5-second demo that he was given. The goggles are gone. He is frightened. He is terrified. He's shaking. I almost felt a little bad for the poor guy. So he orders the entire thing, and he gets the goggles. And then he starts seeing everything in his house. Like, his entire house is disgusting, apparently. So what does he do? Out of fear, he cleans. Oh, he goes full white lady cleaning mode. Actually, not even. He goes full stay-at-home mama cleaning mode. Like, he scrubs his couch, he scrubs the walls, he scrubs himself. Like, he goes nuts. He even has his little robot arms helping him. I think it's kind of cool because it's like, wow, that's motivation right there. Death, because he thinks germs can kill him. But I'm thinking, you have already been living in that house and nothing had happened. Anyway, but then of course once he's done cleaning and everything, and he like finishes off one last germ by himself, Gur comes home, and Gur is just disgusting, apparently. Gur fills the house with germs, and he's rolling on the floor. He's being himself, of course, but he's just like, Zim's like, you are disgusting, and he tells that to him immediately, and Gur's like, oh, someone needs a hug, and he goes and he tries to touch him, and then Zim freaks out. Again, he runs out of his house, and sees how much just more disgusting the world is outside his house. There's germs everywhere because he's outside, you know. So he freaks out again. He's a lot of freaking out on this one. Disinfectant spray, he's just spraying everywhere, and it's not enough. So instead of, you know, him staying outside, he puts Gur outside. He puts Gur outside in a tree so that he can finish cleaning. Germs are everywhere. You cannot escape germs necessarily. And Zim is figuring that out every step of the way. He runs out of cleaning supplies, and he tells Gur that he has to go get more. And so they set off to the store, but Gur is distracted by a giant restaurant called Macmeaty's. This is one of the main restaurants in the show. It's just surrounded by meat, pretty much. Runs in there, Zim chases after him. He has no disinfectant with him. He's freaked out because once he gets in the restaurant, more germs are everywhere. It's just disgusting to him. But then Gur gives him a burger. He's like, here, you want a bite? But the burger is completely germ-free. There's no germs on this burger. And that baffles him. He's like, what is this sorcery? So he goes to the main dude and he talks to him. He's like, hey, what's up with your meat? Tell me everything about it. And of course the old timer goes on a whole binge on how in the 60s they went and they found space meat and all this other crap. But it turns out they just really make it from like used napkins. which I think is disgusting. And then Zim has a eureka moment, and he's like, I will use this to cover myself, basically. That's how the episode ends. He ends it with, comes to school covered in meat. That's how the episode ends.
How you doing?
It's fucking gross. So I know I said I was going to do 1 through 5, but I am running out of time on my memory right now, so I only do through 4. There's one more part I forgot, and it's the darkest one probably ever in the series. Dark Harvest. I'm going to summarize the absolute crap out of this one. It's not long, but it's got some details. So, okay, it starts out on the playground, and, they're throwing the ball to each other, and one kid gets hit in the stomach, and he's like, oh, my organs. And then, Zim's laughing. He's just like, pitiful human, organs, whatever the crap. And so he gets hit, and he's just like, oh, my squiggly smooch.
Oh, my squealy spooch.
Oh, Dib is already, like, what's a squiggly smooch? He's already a little, like, baffled about that. And then, of course, like you do at school, Dib has a package delivered. This package helps him show what's inside someone's body, basically. It's kind of like an x-ray for organs, essentially. Kind of weird to randomly want, but at the same time, I guess this works for the plot. Of course it does. And so, he scans Zim, and he's just like, there's no human organs in there. Like, what's this? And so, just keep that in mind. Like, Zim has no human organs. And eventually, when they get back in class, a pigeon flies into the room, and it lands on Zim's head. And so, his teacher is just like, you have head pigeon. Go to the nurse. And he's like, okay. Takes a hall pass. This specific hall pass is very frightening, because if you leave school grounds with it, it explodes. Why the hell would you have that in possessions of children? Messed up. Very, very messed up. Like, the hall passes in school were really, really weird. He's on his way to the nurse, but then he passes a biology lab. And he's looking at, what they're looking at. They're looking at a whole body, I guess, page with all the organs. And he starts thinking, like, oh, maybe Dib's right. I do need organs, or else they're gonna, know something. And so he's looking, and then a hall monitor comes up behind him, and he's just like, you have your hall pass? He's like, yeah, right here, but you have organs, don't you? Yeah, I do. You wouldn't think, you would notice if any of them were missing, right?
Notice if you were, say, missing a few. Probably not.
Everything just, what? And from that point on, Zim starts stealing kids' organs. Like, he's taking every part of the human body, but he, of course, goes way, 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 way too crazy. And Dib being Dib, he wants to go after him, and he wants to see what he's doing. So he breaks a pencil, shoves it up his nose, goes to the nurse. But his hall pass, it just seems to be a... what would you even call that? Like a heater? An old school heater? It's giant, it's metal, and it just has the word hall pass on it. He's walking around, and he's trying to get to the nurse. The nurse says that there's been no kid with pigeon on his head. Just, the one kid who misses his liver, like...
Oh, the green child. He's right over there, doubled over in pain.
The cooing.
From that on, Dim is just trying to look for him, essentially. And he's dragging his hall pass with him. And the second before Zim is able to get to him, the bell rings, the doors open, and all the kids are walking around him. Basically, he thinks he's safe until, it clears out, and Zim does it again, and he basically just switches out the kids something with Dib's hall pass.
So good.
I think that kid died, maybe? I don't know. So it goes on, and they get to lunch, and Dib is freaking out because everyone is green and dying around him, essentially. Even Gaz. Well, Gaz isn't really dying. Gaz is fine. She has her gaming little system where her kidney is. But besides that, she seems to be the only one okay. And then, he's scanning all the kids, and the kids have a lot of these different things in their bodies. One kid has a phone, one kid has a carton of milk, one kid has a live cat. Oh, that poor kitty, that poor human. Oh, no. And then he zooms in on Zim, who just becomes this giant blob of organs. Like, it's kind of disgusting to look at because he's coughing them up, he's sucking them back up. It's disgusting. He's huge. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And the pigeon is still on his damn head. Keep that in mind. He still has the pigeon on his head. And so, Dib is just like, what else do you need? He's like, I got everything. And then he mentioned lungs. And then, of course, as soon as he said that, Zim goes into hunting mode again to get lungs. Dib looks around and he sees one guy who still has all of his organs. And he thinks that he needs to protect the guy. So he goes with the dude to do whatever the dude needs to do. And he's just, kind of talking to him about, I'm weird. I kind of look into the space stuff. Like, Zim is weird. As soon as Dib walks in front of him and like has his back turned to him, he's taken. And that point, it starts another freaky, like, not really, more spooky chase for Dib and Zim. Zim is now after him because he seems to be the only kid in the school who he hasn't touched, essentially. And so he runs into a science lab, and that's where the start of the chase begins. It's kind of creepy because all you hear is cooing. Zim is above him. He's using the pipes to get around. So the chase just continues. It's so weird. It's almost like a horror movie chase, but cartoon. And he gets to the boiler room thinking he's safe, but then of course he's not because Zim catches him off guard and he, in a snap, gets his stuff taken out. And the end of the show is actually, the end of the episode is very, very anticlimactic because despite Zim being a very giant, disgusting organ blob, the nurse just assumes he's very healthy because the nurse, she comes out, she takes the pigeon off his head and it's just like, oh, you're so healthy, like, such vital organs.
One of the healthiest little children I've ever seen, and such plentiful organs.
She checks Dib and all that and puts a stethoscope on his chest and he breathes and it's a cow moo. Because I think he switched out one of the cow things the nurse had in her hand, and it's in that. And as soon as he did that, she freaked out. There's news reporters coming in saying that, oh, it's a cowboy, half cow, half boy. Or
It isn't human! It's horrible! But he...
Dark Harvest seems to be the creepiest episode in the whole series, like even in the other seasons. I'm not 100% if that's true, but for right now, that's probably the darkest. But yeah, I don't have time to do the 5th one because it's not long, but it's not short either. But that is it. I hope you enjoyed this little chat about Invader Zim. If you enjoyed it, let me know. If you didn't enjoy it, then let me know. Like, I would love to hear feedback from anybody who watches. It'll help me figure myself out for other videos, and it'll help me figure out what other people like, really. This will become a series. I will do this. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all have a great day, great night, great whatever you're doing. And I'll catch y'all next time, maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, y'all have a great day, and I will see you later. Goodbye.